Okay, so there's another one, but it's kind of minor, but I'm just going to mention it here in passing. There's something called Too Long of a Runway. And in my book, Spirit of the Wolf, it was too long of a runway. In other words, you're telling too much of the story and you're not getting into the action. You're telling it, and or like in my case, I wanted them to go on and on and on and on and on for the ever made love, you know. But as you know, and sometimes when we get older, we forget this, that love is very inspiring and it has to be fulfilled now. You know, and people have to be together and they have to make love and they have to get, and they have to do all these things because it's just so instinctive. And sometimes when I'm writing and I'm getting older and I've been married for a while, I forget this, you know. And I know there was, with this story, my last story, The Last Warrior, my editor complained to me. She said, there's only 3 love scenes. And I said, yes, that's plenty. And she said, no, it's not. So I said, okay, I'll give you more love scenes. So I did. I gave her more love scenes because she, you know, is my editor and she knows the market and publishing so much better than I do. But I didn't want them to make love too soon. And so the whole story, I mean, I don't think they make love until about maybe page 300. And I guess she was really like getting a little frustrated with me. It was what it was is it was too long a runway. People in love are in love and they want to love and they kiss and they hug and they make love and they do all kinds, you know, and they can't stay away from each other and they can't stop touching each other. They want to be with each other all the time and you know, being away. Do you remember when you were in high school and you were in love and it was like, oh, I have to be away from him for a whole day? Do you remember that? Oh my gosh. Well, what I was doing in that book, and I realized it was too long a runway. It's too much building up and building up and building up and building up, and you never get to the point. You know, I eventually did get to the point. Then I had a problem with that story because he was on a quest and was not supposed to make love to anyone. So how is he supposed to make love, you know? But I eventually solved it. But that's another point, is you can just keep telling a story and telling a story and telling a story. And sometimes I think editors put it this way: start with chapter 5, you know, or start with chapter 3, because you just get into telling too long, too long, too long. Again, I'm going to go back to, now how do you detect too long a runway? Maybe you're like me, have an editor who says, there's only 3 love scenes. Because I didn't realize it in myself. It wasn't until she said that that I went, something's wrong with that. When an editor tells me something, I do pay attention. I do pay attention. So I was sort of like, okay, so I'm going to fix it. And in this book, I did fix it, but boy, did I have to work on making it right. Because I don't write erotica, so, and I don't read erotica, so maybe I'm going somewhere I don't know, but for me it has to be really, love scenes to me have to be beautiful. I try my best to make them beautiful. And they're not beautiful if they're a one-night stand. From my point of view, that's only my point of view. If you write erotica, please forgive me. We all have different points of views. So now, before I go any further, I just want to ask for any questions. If I've covered anything that you don't understand or want to ask me further about. Yeah.
How many love scenes did your editor end up with? How many did she like you to do per book?
She didn't say. I gave her 6. I gave her 6, and to me that was a little too much.
How many words was the manuscript?
About 100,000. I think that one turned out to be about 95.
Yeah, and I was just remembering about The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. and they don't get together until the last page. And I guess that's why it became famous, because it's a hunt for each other throughout the whole book. It was, you know, it was a good movie with Patricia Neal and Burt Lancaster. No, the other one, who just died, you know, the Moses guy.
Okay, yeah. You know,
That's
Sleepless in Seattle was like that for me too. I don't know, it's a good movie, I like to watch it, but you've all seen Sleepless in Seattle. But through the whole movie, they're not together. I'm like, how can this be a romance? They're not together, you know? So that movie was like that. Okay, thank you. Any other, have I said anything that anyone doesn't understand?
What would you have done to that story that, I mean, she would go see him and run away? I mean, would there be another way of dealing with that issue other than having them meet earlier? I mean, it's that tantalizing back and forth that kept you really spellbound. Will they ever get together? You wanted to smack one of them somehow. But how would you do it? You know, when you see that you're running on, you said that you used that expression of too long a runway.
Too long a runway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you know,
In other words, the plane just never takes off. It's just always on the runway.
that's a hard thing to do, isn't it? To, you know, to try to figure out not to.
It's not hard, which is why I'm kind of wanting to, you know, say this over and over and over again. Please forgive me for being so repetitive. You go back to where you're doing well. Okay, where it was really going well in your estimation. This is all, writing is so subjective anyway. So you go back to where you were doing well and you liked it and you knew it was good and you loved what you were doing. You go back to that point and just look it over. Look it over. I mean, it could be all kinds of different things. I didn't realize that I had too long a runway in this book. It really, you know, that, like I said, one of the first things that you have to realize is you've hit a brick wall. You've got a barrier of some kind. And I didn't realize that I had hit a brick wall with that. And it wasn't until my editor said something that I sort of went, boom. Okay, okay. And how I fixed it that one time, this was in, which book was that? Spirit of the Wolf, I think. Oh, and also in Angel and the Warrior, I ran into this as well, where how to get them together fast enough, you know. And in each case, what I've done is gone back into the hero and heroine's viewpoint one at a time and given them a reason why they need to get together. You know, it could be anything, which of course is your story. You're telling your story from your viewpoint, and so it could be anything. Let me think of something else besides just my own thing. So you go back. You've hit a barrier of some kind, and you go back. It might be that you need a third viewpoint. I ran into this one time, and I run into this into mysteries. Is there anyone here who writes mysteries? Okay, because I run into this in a mystery, excuse me. Me in high heels. Okay.